Continuing here. Well, just to finish that thought about the woman I met at the O'Reilly's Auto Parts store. It's, I've met these kind of people quite a bit in my life. It's just that they see no relevance in understanding the stuff that I am trying to convey to them. And it is so relevant. It's so utterly relevant to their sense of freedom, their sense of safety and security and prosperity. Just explaining this business about minimum wage, I mean, you got to admit that there's nothing unreasonable about saying, look, if we've got forces in the economy, this game that we call capitalism, that are deliberately driving up your cost of living for their profit, okay, but to your expense. You understand how this works? And we know this is being done by deliberation, so it's artificial. It's anti progress. It's retrogressive to what is beneficial to the welfare of society as a whole. Then it's only fair to say, look, these people have driven your cost of living up, and this is why we have this thing we call a COLA. A COLA is a cost of living adjustment. There's nothing unreasonable. There's more than one way to skin a cat. This is like a check and balance. This is accountability. This is oversight by who? We the people, who should be the only government there is that's respected, that's legitimate. It's not that way, but really, constitutionally speaking, it's about we the people. And if a policy doesn't benefit the people as a whole, okay, without hurting anybody, it can't hurt anybody, okay, even I don't care how many it benefits, it can't hurt others in that process. Okay, that is not godly. You understand? That enough is, that's cheating. That's not playing the game on the up and up. That's a separate set of rules for this group and another set of rules for this group. Do you understand? So it's wrong. It's immoral. It's unethical. It's unconscionable. And, we have to admit that. But, that's the main point I try to get across to people. Look, every year you say, look, did the cost of living go up or down? Okay, if the cost of living went down, then you don't need as much wages and you're still getting richer. You understand how that works? So let's say your cost of living went down by 20% in the course of a year. So wages went down by 10%. Do you understand? So still, as a net, you're getting richer because your currency is naturally going up in worth because this is progress. This is progress in the game. We're progressing together as a game so that we can all win this game together. And what we're trying to achieve here is freedom. Freedom. It all comes down to freedom. It's all about freedom. Okay, because that's what financial freedom. Who hasn't heard that term? So unless we're financially free, okay, then we're not really free. You can be free in an array of different ways. You can have free speech. You can be free because you're not in jail. Something could cost you nothing, so it's free. All good things, right? You don't want to be in jail. You want free speech. And you like, stuff if you can get it, it doesn't get any cheaper than free. That's really good if something's free, the way God gives things. He didn't say, okay, you want to pick that peach? That's going to cost you $1, right? So understand, this is a thing about money. It's an invention of men. But there's nothing absolutely unreasonable about the things I talk about, which the only reason I do this video series is because I don't hear anybody else talking about. But this would have acted as a huge check and balance against what's happened in this country, the debasement of our currency through reckless, evil economic policy, unsound economic policy. Okay, through the debasement of the currency. It's evil. It's evil. It's hurting people in a very tangible, real way. The dubious war, the crime, suicides, broken homes, abortions, national debt, the welfare industry. It's really hurting people. Please, folks, understand this is serious, serious. It does not get more serious than understanding economic matters. So every year you get a cost of living adjustment. If the cost of living went up, then you get a commensurate, proportional, equivalent cost of living adjustment just to stay balanced. There's nothing wrong with that because when we started this game, we decided we weren't going to allow slavery. We know that there's unscrupulous employers that will enslave people if they can get away with it. So we have rules to follow this game. And the game is that this is what we have deemed is ethical and fair, that it's a minimum of this. This is the starting point, that we come up with this minimum wage. So if we had done that every year, and we could have, at the time when we were given this minimum wage adjustment, okay, the wage adjustment, cost of living adjustment, the Labor Department is supposed to be in control of this, we would have pointed the finger where the finger needed to be pointed to. If the employers don't like to have to give their employees more pay, they don't like currency debasement either, because what happened was the worth of the employer's dollar went down relative to his employee purchasing power, right? The time he could afford to purchase these employees. You understand how this game is supposed to work? But I could beat myself up, folks, and if people don't want to get it, they're not going to get it, you know. But to me, you're elitist. If you're not willing to admit the truth when it's staring you in the face, it's like you want to tell me that 2 plus 2 equals something other than 4, that it ever did or ever will, and it doesn't. So, you know, that's where I'm coming from, folks. And I think I'm done being arrogant. I don't want to be an a-hole. I don't want to come off in any way I don't want to come off as. I don't want to be somebody I'm really not. I just want to be a really nice guy, but I want to be free. I've got this yearning that is just like a fire burning in my soul to be free. And to say, look, can I be free from, you know, would it free me from this vice or that form of escapism if I was free? And I say, I have to wonder. I say, yes, maybe it very well would. I just don't know. We've fallen so far in the other direction, okay? And I'm willing to do the math. This is not a, what's the term I'm looking for? It's not really a esoteric thing. It's not a thing of philosophy so much. It's just mathematic. I will do the math with you to prove that I'm right. And I don't want to say that in an arrogant way. But I know what I'm talking about. I am a fiscal conservative. I believe in fiscal prudence. And at the same time, I think I'm very liberal because I believe in freedom strongly. And I think that's what the good liberal people want. That's what good socialists, they want to be free. They don't want to be bound by the money masters of misery. They want to do what they want to do on their schedule, and they ought to be able to do that. It's not a left-right thing. It's not even a religious thing. Not if religion is a bad thing, which we've been convinced it is. But it doesn't have to be. I mean, you know, everybody's on their own. I mean, I can call myself anything I want. I could call myself, well, I want to frame up Islam, so I'm going to call myself a Muslim, and I'm going to go do some heinous thing in the name of Islam. Or I'm going to do that to the Christians, or I'm going to do that to the Jews, or I'm going to do that to the liberals, or I'm going to do that to the whatever. You understand how this thing goes? So that you don't have to think particularly diabolically to understand what I'm saying here. It's a frame up. It's a false flag. This is the way Satan works, very deceptively. He deludes us incrementally. So we've slowly seeped into this this muck and mire, okay, that we call a civilized society, and it isn't, folks. This is scary. And, you know, I'm scared. I'm scared for what it's going to take humanity to really understand, guys like me, that I'm really not radical. I just want to be free. I just want to be free. And I know it has a lot to do with money. I don't want to have to deal with money at all. Does that make me exempt from it? No. You understand? I'm stuck in the same cesspool with everybody else. I've got to feed the beast because you've told me I have to. You said if you don't do that, you don't figure out how to, you know, go out there and do this thing, then you're going to lose everything. You're not going to have anything at all. Okay, that's it. That's it. I've got to conform. No matter how low my cost of living is, I still have a cost of living, just like you. So we're forced to conform, to comply, to acquiesce, to capitulate to this beast system, and I am so sick of it. Okay, because like I said, freedom. I need to be free. Because I need to know who I really am. I need to know if I can be free from those things that bring me down. That I feel like it's a metaphorical slashing of the wrist. It's a metaphorical going to the protest to get my fair share of abuse. Doesn't matter which side I'm on. Maybe I'm on both sides. But if I'm perceived by one side to be on the other side, I might get beat up, or vice versa. You understand how this works? It's insanity, folks. They've driven us insane. And it should come as no surprise that these people are insane. They are. And so we act in insane behavior. We do things that are just, they bring us down. They're just, I mean, if you slash your wrist, believe me, you're going to come down. You might die. You might bleed out. You might hemorrhage out. You might not. You might survive it. But that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm tired of it. I'm confessing. I'm admitting it. I don't like it. God knows. God knows. I want a reprieve. I want a break. I need some time away from this madness. And just, $10 billion is not going to cut it for me. It's just not. I don't care how much money I have. It's just who I am. It's just being true to myself and saying the guy I want to be is not that guy. I want to see the collective wound on the body of humanity bound up first. Then maybe I could enjoy a more luxurious lifestyle. Other than that, I know the game is rigged. And if they want all these people poor, you know what? I mean, I'm just saying, you know what? I'm done. I'm over it. I raise my hand. I don't care. I mean, I'm just not playing Satan's game. I'm just tired of feeding the beast. And it's hard, man. I mean, it's hard because, if I have an opportunity for an opportunity, am I to reject it because it might lead to riches? I mean, these are all questions I have to ask myself, just like I'm always putting everybody else on the spot, telling them how you're going to stand before your God someday and all this pontificating I do. I mean, the fingers are pointed back at me too. I know. And this is why I'm scared. I want us to be free. I want us to understand the problem. But Donald Trump, man, he very well could go down in history. If this is the right time in history, that I believe, if I'm hoping to God it is, that God is saying, no, this is the way it's going to be. I'm going to make sure Trump stays alive. And I'm going to prove to everybody that he's a good guy, that he's an egalitarian, that he's a good American, a constitutionalist. He believes in prosperity. He believes in freedom for all, not some. It's going to start happening. It's a very positive time, but it's a very frightening time because we know that the demons are freaked out. Satan is very angry, not in a rightful manner, but doesn't change the fact that it's like a wild animal that's still insane. It's thrashing about, and it's like, damn, I don't know what the hell it's going to do. None of us do. But I hope that God does this, in a perfect manner. I mean, we all know that he's got the potential. He's got the power to just, with pinpoint accuracy, start letting this thing unfold. But we've got to be looking forward to what he wants us to look forward to, which is peace on earth. It is a type of utopia. Admit it. That's what this whole heaven thing is. I mean, you tell me what heaven is or paradise is. Okay, I mean, this indicates idealism and perfection, but as defined by God, not the New World Order's idea of utopia, which is once they get rid of 95% of the people on Earth, that's their idea of utopia, is having ownership of all that more stuff and being in more and more control of it. You understand? So that's the utopia they want us to buy into, this whole idea of saving the earth and all that crap. Yeah, the Bible says those who destroy the earth, the Lord will destroy them. So I'm probably as good of an ecologist as you'll ever meet. Okay, but I want to change the subject to disruptive technology. You understand? What these elitists, these liars, these Satanists don't want to discuss, because they know there is a hell of a lot of suppressed clean energy technology. But the fact that they can't make a profit on it is why it's not available. The Tesla thing. Okay, that they can't just sell you a component where you could just suck infinite electricity out of the air. You understand? You understand? Why would they do that? That'd be like cutting off their nose to spite their face in their eyes. Be shooting themselves in the foot, right? Cutting their own throat. It would be antithetical to their own self-interest. Do you understand? So we're in a mess. We're in a mess, and we've got to get it. And we've got to understand that the only hope is that we can get on a new trajectory toward your currency going up in worth through cost of living deflation. I mean, it's been run up about as far as it can. When I hear about the prices of rent people are paying, we need affordable housing. I'm sorry if you didn't make it onto the landlord property management bandwagon and you're not going to make your fortune off the backs of the poor. I'm sorry. Okay, but there's only need for so much lodging, temporary lodging, because essentially that's what a rental is. It's always temporary lodging. People want a sense of permanence. They want a sense of security. They want a way out of fear. They want a sense of prosperity. They want to be free. And if you want those things for yourself, you've got to understand other people want those things. You've got to be willing to let them have those things, or you're ungodly and you're